Hello everyone and welcome once again to the Just As Pilot YouTube channel. My name is Mauricio Mendoza, and for those of you who don't know what we do here on YouTube, we interview people that are related to the aviation industry or to the aerospace industry. We ask them questions about their careers, we ask them questions about their opinions on certain topics. This time we had the opportunity to talk to a great person. She's from Sweden and some of her type ratings include the A320, the really cool four-engine regional jet, the Avro RJ, and she will give us some insights on what it's like for her as a female in the aviation industry. So without further ado, let's just welcome pilot Susanna.
Welcome back everyone to our Just As Pilot YouTube channel. Today we have a very special guest, Pilot Susy. Welcome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much for being here today. So for our first question, can you walk us through how did you started in the aviation industry? How and when, and how did that look like for you?
Yeah, of course. For me, aviation or becoming a pilot was a bit of a childhood dream, but I kind of forgot about it for many years. And when I had to choose university when I was around, I think, 18, 19 years old, it suddenly came back to me again that I remember I wanted to be a pilot. So then I started looking into it and I found a flight school that I really wanted to go to in Sweden. And that's run by a university and it's government funded. So of course that's very attractive and you don't have to pay for your training. So I checked with the school what I needed when it comes to grades or whatever. And I studied at the university. I studied technology, mathematics, physics, and chemistry. And my grades were good enough. Then I applied to the school, but they had a waiting list. I had to wait a few years to be accepted. And 3 years later, I was accepted to the flight school and I started there in 2001, which is already a long time ago. And I was finished in 2002 with my commercial license.
Awesome. That sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I have another question. So since you have probably been flying for a long part of your life, what is your most memorable flight?
I have so many, but I think one that I will never ever forget is my first flight on a commercial jet. And my first aircraft was an Avro RJ, this little high wing with 4 engines. And it's an amazing aircraft. It flies a lot of amazing airports. And my first training flight was actually from Milano Linate in Italy to London City in England. And I flew in the night before from Sweden and it was my first training. I didn't know the airport, I didn't know the hotel, the captain, the cabin attendants, I didn't know anybody. And to fly to London City, I think is the most stressful thing you can do as a new pilot. And at the first flight, I was on the observer seat. And when we flew back to Linate, I was pilot flying. And I felt so much stress and I felt that everything I learned in flight school just disappeared the same moment. God, when I came back to the hotel, I was thinking, is this really how it should be? This is so stressful, this is terrible. And I had that feeling for 2 or 3 days because it was so much new impressions. People were speaking Italian. I didn't understand anything. But after a few days, I got a bit more confident with my flying and I really enjoyed it. But the first day, I will never ever forget it. I was at that time with 30.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I graduated from flight school when I was 25, but it was a very bad time for the aviation industry. So I didn't get a job until 5 years later when I was 30.
Okay. Sounds great. Thank you very much. For our next question, knowing that aviation is always changing, always evolving, what's the one thing you think will change aviation in the next 5 years?
I would wish to say that it would be even more fuel efficient aircraft or maybe smaller airplanes or more environmentally friendly aircrafts. But I think it's already so much has happened the last 10 and 20 years that I don't think we can expect any dramatic changes the next 5 years. And especially now with the COVID-19 situation. I think everything in aviation is really put on hold. I don't think airlines or aircraft manufacturers are willing to invest a lot these days. And I think, honestly, for the next 5-10 years, I don't think we will see any really dramatic changes.
Yeah, of course, I totally agree. Right now, nobody's on the position to like invest on new technologies and all of that. And
Yeah, nobody knows what will happen the next years now. It's a very strange situation we have.
Certain, yes. Okay, thank you for that. And I have one more question. My question is, well, since women only account for approximately 6% of pilots, what do you think is the most significant barrier that women face in the aviation industry?
Well, I think our biggest barrier is ourselves, honestly. I think that maybe a lot of women are a bit afraid that they will encounter problems or barriers that makes them a bit afraid to go into aviation. And that is, of course, a problem. But I can only speak for myself, and I really didn't have any problems. I always had so much support. In flight school, I was the only female student. There were only male students and instructors, and I felt so well taken care of. The same at my job now. I have the same rights as male colleagues. I have the same salary. There is really nothing to worry about. And I think, yeah, just trying to not look at the differences between men and women is the biggest step, and just look at their personalities. There's just one thing that I felt is a bit unfair, and that was when I became a mother, when I was pregnant. I know in some companies, in my company, you have to stop flying when you're pregnant and you will be put on a sick leave. And of course, you lose a lot of money. And I felt that that's a bit unfair, that a woman, I can choose to have kids as well as my male colleagues, but I shouldn't be losing money just because I'm a woman. And that's a little, I think, glitch in the equality that I would love to have fixed.
And yeah, based on that same previous question, how do you think we can encourage more women to pursue a career in aviation?
I think the biggest step is just to normalize it, to show more women flying without pinpointing that we are female pilots, just to view it as something normal. There is nothing extraordinary with two pilots being women and flying together. And I think the more we see that, the more young women will be encouraged. And I think in our company, I think we are maybe even more than 10%. Nice. And I've been working here for 6 years now, and I had so many times we flew an entire female crew, both pilots and the cabin crew. And that's really, for us, it's nothing extraordinary anymore. This is happens. And I think it's not like, I know it's not like that in the rest of the world, but at least we're on the right way.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. It's good to
hopefully more women will begin flying all around the world, because
yeah, I hope so.
Less common in some countries than others.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. For our next question, throughout your career, have you ever thought about quitting aviation? Have you ever thought about not being a pilot anymore?
No, not really. But I have to say, the last 6 months now with the COVID-19 situation, I've been home a lot. I only did, I don't know, 7 or 8 flights the last 6 months, and I start to realize what kind of life normal people have. They can sleep at night, they can have a social life, they can have a regular eating, sleeping, and training pattern. And I'm so used to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning or go to bed at 7 in the morning. So honestly, after 2 months of normal life, it was quite tempting. And I was even thinking, oh, should I do something else? Because this is quite nice, actually. But then as soon as I have a flight, when I go flying, I really, really miss it and I love it. And I don't think I could ever really stop flying. And the other thing is, when my daughter, she's 2.5 now, when she was 10 months old, I started flying, and I was away from her 5 or 6 days in a row. And that was extremely difficult. I missed her so much. And at that moment, I know I really considered stopping completely. But I'm happy I didn't, because that's just a short time, and now I'm I'm home all the time. So I'm very happy I didn't do that. But yeah, a few times I thought about it, but I never did.
That's true. Now you have, with COVID, you have the opportunity to spend a lot of time with your daughter.
Yeah, I do, and I really appreciate it. I know it's a uncertain situation for us. I have a lot less money, of course, but we do have a lot of time with our daughter, and that's yeah, you cannot put the price tag on that.
Probably she's very, very happy with that. She's the most happy about the situation. Awesome. Thank you very much. And for our last question, and this is a fun question. If you could fly anywhere today, where would it be and why?
As a pilot or passenger?
As a pilot.
As a pilot. I would love to have a long flight, because the last flights I've done has been really short, like 30, 40, 50 minutes. I would love to have a flight that's 4 or 5 hours long from here to Canary Islands or Israel or Armenia, where I could actually sit and enjoy the flying for a bit, just, you know, enjoy the airplane, the approach, the weather, the views. So anywhere, I think, yeah, Tenerife or Gran Canaria, a charter flight would be absolutely amazing.
And you like those cities too? Or it's more because of the flying?
It's for the flying, honestly. I love all destinations. I cannot say in our network that we have one destination that I don't like to fly to. But when it comes to the flying part, if you have a longer flight, it's a few hours long. You can really enjoy it. You can have your meal. You can talk to your colleague next to you. You can really enjoy the whole concept of flying, and you can study your approach. You can prepare a lot mentally. The short flights is really automatic. You maybe done it so many times. I did my last flight was, I think, Charles de Gaulle, Paris. It's only 30 minutes. And then it's too short. You enjoy it, but you cannot enjoy it to the fullest. So I prefer the long flights.
No, of course. I mean, 1 hour in the air goes by so fast.
When you're a pilot, it goes fast. As a passenger, it's always a bit slower.
Yeah, of course. But, yeah, pilots are always like super busy. It goes so fast. So I totally get what you mean. Thank you very much for that.
My question.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And I think that's everything for our questions today. And we appreciate you taking the time to be here with us. It's been really a pleasure meeting you. And yeah, you are on Instagram as at Susy the Pilot. So follow her on Instagram and also subscribe and hit the bell notification button so you don't miss any of our videos. We are on Instagram as at Just As Pilot, and our website is www.justaspilot.com.
Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been amazing.